Don't touch me, little man. Move, get back.
Come on now.
Get back. Move, bro. Move, get back. Get back. No, I'm not. Get back. Please move from my car, bro. Move, little man. Please move.
Oh, you on that?
Move, little man. Move. Get my door, please. Get my door.
I'm about to tell you a story that's gonna make your blood boil, but I need y'all to hear this. Because what happened to Shantae Butts could happen to any of us, and the way the system failed her, that's happening to our sisters every single day. In the early hours of June 11th, 2025, a 32-year-old mother was gunned down, shot dead because she had the audacity to speak her truth on social media.
Some women, me, I'm putting myself in that category, make it okay for niggas not to be
12 bullets, y'all. 12. At 11:47 in the morning, police got a call that'll haunt you. A child, a baby, on the other end, crying, terrified, telling them his mama just got shot. When those officers rushed to that house on State Road 715, what they walked into was pure horror. There she was, Shante, lying on her own bed, 12 gunshot wounds covering her body. And listen to this part. Her children, all 6 of them, were right there, screaming, crying, watching their mama take her last breath. Some of these babies will never be the same. But here's what really gets me. The person who did this wasn't some random stranger breaking in. Nah, it was her own boyfriend, the father of her babies. He killed her because she dared to put his business out there for the world to see. And when investigators started digging, girl, what they found was even more disturbing. This wasn't his first time putting his hands on a woman, not even close. This man had a whole pattern and everybody knew it.
You're watching Shadow Crimes TV, where we bring true crime and domestic violence stories out of the shadows. Subscribe now and join us daily as we uncover the cases that demand to be heard. Don't just watch, be part of the conversation.
Now let me tell you about Shantae Letitia Butts.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
They called her Shay, born right here in West Palm Beach, Florida. In the early 90s, this woman grew up knowing struggle from day one. See, Shay's childhood wasn't easy, and she was real open about it. She'd been in the system, adopted, and that experience shaped everything about how she saw family and love. She used to talk about it on her social media, keeping it 100 about how being adopted affected her.
So I'm 30, finna be 31, and I was adopted as a child. In between adopted and foster, I don't think people know this, is when you adopted, you belong in that family. So therefore, the state can't come and take you out of that household. Now, if you fostered, you could just get taken at any moment whenever the person chooses to get a child. Like if they want a child and they want you, they could just...
That right there, that's what drove Shante to be the mother she was. She wanted to give her kids what she never fully had. Stability, protection, and love that didn't come with conditions. And let me tell you something, this woman was about her children. Every single thing she did was for those babies. You'd see her on social media at every school event. Cheering from the sidelines, making time for family outings even when she was running on empty. Her oldest son especially Nitis. That boy was right by her side, stepping up when mama needed him to. But how did she manage all this? Honey, Shante was the definition of a hustler. This woman wore more hats than you could count. She worked as a home health aide, and if you know anything about that job, you know it's physically and emotionally draining. But that wasn't enough for Shay.
She also ran her own cleaning business called Polish by Shay. Had clients all over, transforming people's homes, building a reputation for being thorough and professional. On top of that, because apparently she had superpowers, she ran a decor business too, creating those unique floral arrangements with liquor bottles and money bouquets that were getting popular. And yeah, she was trying to make it as a content creator too. Shante was on social media showcasing her humor, her struggles, her whole survival story.
So I honestly feel like I don't get paid enough to babysit. I don't give a if they is my own kids. Pay me. I gotta miss work to take care of the kids. Pay me. I gotta miss an event to be with my kids. Pay me. Period.
She called herself a comedian, turning all that pain into punchlines and stress into relatable content that had people watching.
Just ask y'all a question. When y'all come up to me and tell me about my nigga cheating, do you really think I be hurt? He cheat, I cheat, we cheat, the together, bitch.
Her All Deadbeat Daddy series. Girl that was raw, funny, and brutally honest about these ain't nothing fathers out here. She kept it real about everything.
Some women, me, I'm putting myself in that category, make it okay for not to be just being in our relationship because we so happy that somebody love us. But we can just love ourselves if that makes sense. Take care of the household, do what we gotta do, because in reality, we just not feeling like we housing a nigga. But in reality, we housing a nigga. And from the outside looking in, it looked like he's helping or contributing because your life is still going on the same way.
Now see, her online presence wasn't just entertainment, it was therapy. A way for her to process all the chaos in her life while helping other women who were going through the same things. She was really out here trying to empower people with her truth. But at the end of the day, past all the jobs, all the hustles, all the content creation, Shantae's real role was simple. She was a mother first. Every hustle was for them babies. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every calculated move she made was about securing her children's future. She wanted to make sure they had what she never did. That was until she crossed paths with a man who would change the whole trajectory of her life forever. Moving on to 46-year-old Little Mac Williams, her ex-boyfriend and the father of her youngest children. During her relationship with Little Mac, Shantae started realizing that being with this man wasn't what she wanted for her life anymore. The relationship was bringing more disappointment than joy, more stress than peace. After dealing with enough letdowns, and I mean enough, she made that difficult decision to let Little Mac go and move forward with her life. She even opened her heart to somebody new, hoping for a fresh start, a chance at something better. But here's the thing about leaving Little Mac, it wasn't gonna be that simple. This man was not ready to let her go, and that refusal to accept that their relationship was over, that's when things started getting dark. What Shantae didn't fully understand at the time was that Little Mac was a man with a violent past and a documented history of terrorizing women. But what makes Shantae's story so heartbreaking is that she saw it coming. She knew the danger she was in. She warned people over and over again, and yet nothing, and I mean nothing, stopped him. Let me tell you something about Little Mac Williams and his track record, because this is where it gets real disturbing. This man had a long history of putting his hands on women, and I mean a documented pattern that went back years.
In 2014, y'all listen to this, he was arrested after another ex-girlfriend accused him of sexual battery. When police showed up, they found this woman with visible injuries all over her body, swelling, bruises, and a massive hematoma on her forehead. We're talking serious damage here.
Little Mac got charged with felony battery, domestic battery by strangulation, and false imprisonment. Now, with charges like that, you'd think he'd be locked up for years, right? Wrong. This man served 36 days. 36 days in jail for nearly killing somebody. Make it make sense. But that didn't stop him. Oh no. In 2018, another woman reported that Williams wouldn't stop showing up to her house. He was refusing to leave, tampering with her security cameras, basically stalking this poor woman. They arrested him again, but only convicted him of trespassing. His punishment? 59 days in jail. Girl, you see the pattern here? Each time he's getting a slap on the wrist for terrorizing women, but his violence just kept escalating. By 2023, he struck a woman in the head with an object during a dispute, put her in the hospital. Once again, they arrested him, but this time, and I cannot make this up, he only served 2 days behind bars. 2 days for sending somebody to the hospital. So now we got a clear pattern: violence, arrest, slap on the wrist, immediate release. The system kept letting this man walk free to hurt more women. By 2024, Shantae Butts had become his next target. And honey, she was about to find out firsthand how broken this system really was. In July 2024, Shante called the police to report that Williams had forced his way into her home. This man put her in a chokehold, y'all, and kicked her multiple times. She nearly lost consciousness right there in her own house. When she tried to call
911.
he snatched her phone and ran. Deputies arrested him and charged him with multiple felonies, including domestic battery by strangulation and witness tampering. He pled guilty to putting his hands on this woman, and what did he get? 157 days in jail and a no-contact order. But here's the problem. Nobody could make him follow that order, and that's exactly what happened. By October 2024, Shante was calling police again. Little Mac was stalking her, calling her phone non-stop, banging on her front door like he'd lost his mind. They arrested him again for violating that no-contact order, but did that stop anything? Not even close. November 2024, it escalated even further. This man broke into her house, assaulted her, and stole her phone. And get this, prosecutors reduced the charge from felony domestic battery to a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor, he pled guilty and got 66 days in jail. So let's count this up. Despite all these arrests, all these convictions, all these documented incidents of violence, Little Mac was still free, still violent, and still determined to control Shante. It was only a matter of time before his threats turned deadly.
Some women, me, I'm putting myself in that category, make it okay not to be shit.
Now, while Shantae was creating her viral All Deadbeat Daddy series, Little Mac was having none of it. To her followers, it was entertainment, raw, unfiltered content about her frustrations with absent fathers. But to Little Mac, he felt like she was putting his business out there for the world to see, embarrassing him, making him look bad. What Shantae saw as self-expression and healing, Little Mac saw as a personal attack. And that resentment, it was building up to something dangerous. July 1st, 2025, things reached a breaking point. Little Mac showed up at Shantae's workplace, and you could hear the fear in her voice.
Please leave. I am not okay with this. Please leave my job. I have to go.
But the story was far from over. On July 5th, 2025, Deputies were called once again to Shantae's home in Belle Glade, Florida. She told them that Little Mac had shown up outside her house, banging on windows, screaming for her, and taunting her about a missing firearm. He wouldn't leave, and Shantae told those deputies something that should have been a wake-up call for everybody. She said she believed he was going to kill her. She said it plain and simple. So she made a decision. She filed a restraining order against Little Mac for stalking and harassment. But that same night, she saw something that confirmed her worst fears. Shantae checked her doorbell camera feed, and there he was. Little Mac was back again, pacing outside her home, messing with her camera. This man wasn't just harassing her anymore. He was hunting her. Right then and there, Shantae fled to a hotel in nearby Clewiston, desperate for just one night of safety. But even there, she couldn't shake the feeling that he would track her down. She posted on social media about what she was going through, about how the system wasn't protecting her. And you know what? She was absolutely right, because only days later her worst nightmare came true. July 11, 2025, at 11:47 p.m. This is when everything Shantae feared became reality. Her oldest son dialed 911, and y'all, his voice was pure panic. He told the dispatcher that his mother's ex-boyfriend had broken into their home through a window. The boy said the man was asking, "Where's your mother?" Then came silence. Then his voice cracked as he cried out that his mother had been shot. Deputies rushed to that home on State Road 715 in Belle Glade. When they got inside, it was pure chaos. Children screaming, and Shantae lying unresponsive on her bed with 12 gunshot wounds covering her body. She was declared dead at 11:58 p.m. Her new boyfriend, who had been in the house that night, was also shot in the chest but somehow survived. But here's the part that's gonna stay with you. All 6 of Shantae's children were inside that house when the gunfire erupted. Some hid, some screamed. Her oldest son tried to protect his younger siblings while he watched his mother struggling to breathe as Little Mac strangled her before pulling that trigger. Those babies will never forget what they witnessed that night. Their childhood was stolen in those moments. But outside, the scene was almost unreal. There was no high-speed chase, no shootout, no dramatic standoff. Deputies found Little Mac lying in the street with his hands behind his back, waiting to be arrested.
The same man who had terrorized Shantae for years surrendered like a coward after ending her life. After years of dodging real consequences, he finally allowed himself to be taken into custody. When they questioned him, Little Mac denied everything, said he didn't know who the other man in the house was, insisted he never fired the gun, claimed he had no idea where it was. This, even though Shantae had recently reported that he stole her firearm, but investigators weren't fooled. They found scratches on his face and body, clear evidence of a violent struggle. Inside the home, they found signs of a brutal fight, and most important of all, they had the testimony of Shantae's children, who watched in horror as this man murdered their mother. It was only after examining all the evidence that the horrifying truth became crystal clear. Every step of this crime had been predictable. Every warning sign had been documented, and still, nothing had been done to stop it. To understand how this happened, detectives went back through Little Mac's entire record. What they found painted a clear picture of a violent repeat offender who should have been locked up years earlier. Shantae had warned them all.
She told deputies, she told the courts, she told her friends and family that this man was going to kill her. She even fled her own home days before her death because she knew he was circling her like a predator waiting to strike. And still, the system did not protect her. The evidence was overwhelming. Every piece pointed to a pattern that everyone chose to ignore until it was too late. News of Shantae's murder hit Belle Glade like a shockwave. Neighbors described her as a hard-working single mother who did everything she could for her children. Now those babies are left without their mama, and her oldest son, the one who called 911 that night, will forever carry the trauma of describing the man who murdered his mother to a dispatcher. For the community, there was both relief and outrage. Relief that little Mac was finally off the streets. Outrage that it took Shantae's death for it to happen. But listen, this wasn't just the story of one man's violence. This was the story of a system that consistently downplayed domestic abuse until it ended in murder.
Despite being found guilty of choking Shantae Butts in July of last year, court records show the most jail time Little Mac Williams served was 157 days, with each case after that carrying less time in jail.
Each case after that carried even less time behind bars. Little Mac had a documented history of strangulation, stalking, breaking into homes, and threatening women's lives. Yet time and time again, prosecutors reduced charges, judges handed out slaps on the wrist, and jail sentences lasted days instead of years. Until July 11, 2025, when all those failures converged into tragedy. But justice would not come easily, and the battle was far from over. Little Mac Williams now sits in a county jail in Palm Beach County, facing charges of first-degree murder with a firearm, attempted murder, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Prosecutors announced they would pursue the maximum penalty, pointing to his repeat offender status and the brutality of the crime.
The focus of the state attorney's office is to go after violent offenders and habitual offenders. And in domestic violence, that's no different.
The charges meant Williams could face life without parole or even the death penalty, but the community was left asking, why did it take Shantae's death for the system to take him seriously? A memorial was held for 32-year-old Shantae Butts in Palm Beach County. The ceremony drew family, friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had followed her story online. Her children sat in the front row, holding each other for comfort. Her oldest son, the same boy who had called 911, stood tall, but looked hollowed out, his childhood stolen in a single night. The eulogies painted the picture of a woman who was so much more than her death. She was a hustler, a creator, a mother who gave everything to her children. Her best friend described her as the type of woman who made magic out of struggle. Shantae's family called for accountability, not just for Little Mac, but for the prosecutors and judges who had let him slip through the cracks time and time again. For Belle Glade, this wasn't just another crime. It was a brutal reminder of how domestic violence often ends not with intervention, but with tragedy. Local activists began organizing vigils, demanding stronger enforcement of restraining orders, harsher sentences for repeat offenders, and more resources for women trying to escape abuse.
If law enforcement's being called, it's something's going on. There's something major that's happened. I mean, the homicide rate is high, especially when someone's trying to leave that abusive situation. that's when they're at the highest risk.
News outlets across the country began covering Shantae's story.
Survivors of domestic violence are told to speak up, document everything. But for one Belle Glade mother, even that wasn't enough. Tonight, we're uncovering how her death fits into a larger deadly pattern and why advocates say the system is still falling short.
Highlighting how she had done everything survivors are told to do. She left, she filed reports, she pressed charges, she installed cameras, she documented every single incident, and still, it wasn't enough. Survivors of domestic violence are told to speak up, document everything, but for one Belle Glade mother, even that wasn't enough. Tonight we're uncovering how her death fits into a larger deadly pattern, and why advocates say the system is still falling short. Advocates pointed out that restraining orders are often treated as suggestions rather than enforceable protections. Judges routinely reduce felony charges to misdemeanors, and women are frequently told to be strong, without the system providing the protection that strength deserves. Experts warned that Shantae's case was not an outlier. In fact, strangulation, something Little Mac had done to her before, is one of the strongest predictors of eventual homicide in domestic violence cases. Yet courts repeatedly minimized it. Let me tell you something, it's time to demand systemic change. Domestic violence should not be treated as a minor offense. Strangulation should not lead to just a few weeks in jail, and restraining orders should not be empty promises on paper. The truth is, Shantae deserved protection. She deserved safety. She deserved to watch her children grow up. Instead, she became another statistic in a system that failed her at every turn. But her story is not just one of tragedy, it's also one of resilience, of a woman who fought until the very end, and of a community determined to turn her pain into change. Shantae Butts was a mother, a hustler, a survivor who did everything right and still lost her life because the system couldn't protect her. Her children will grow up without their mama, but they'll also grow up knowing she fought for them until her last breath. Rest in power, Shantae. Your story will not be forgotten, and your fight for justice continues through all of us who refuse to let your death be in vain. But hey, this is why we do what we do here at Shadowed Crimes TV, because every victim deserves to have their story told. Every family deserves justice, and every woman deserves protection. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We bring you true crime stories daily, cases you know and ones you don't. Stay with us as we shine a light on shadowed stories that need to be heard, because every victim deserves to have their story told.